Good morning, Year 6, and welcome to Monday the 25th of January's literacy lesson. So today all that you need is just this reminder in your home learning booklet. So just to remind us on this page, we're writing on Mondays, so have a look at this bit and then just remind yourself of the must, should and could. So our purpose for writing, we started writing our story last Thursday, we're going to continue it today. And our purpose is to write in that style that when me, Miss Frost or Miss Wallace read it, it gives us goosebumps and leaves us wanting to read more. And we are writing a suspense story in response to the David Guetta video. So what you might need to do today is just leave a line under yesterday's writing and write today's date, Monday the 25th of January. And while you do that as well, you might want to just remind yourself of the video. So the video links have been emailed and they are on the home learning overview. So just have a look at the video. In particular, the bit where the policeman is pulling up to the school and the boy is riding his bike home, getting into his house, all the way up to the first knock on the door. Okay, pause the video while you do those things. Okay, right, so now that you've reminded yourself of what we're writing today, have a look at yesterday's work and remind yourself of last Thursday's work, and remind yourself of any clues of what you've written and where you've stopped. And while you do that, I'll just go through the must, should and could. So same thing, we must make sure our capital sentences are punctuated with capital letters and punctuation marks like full stops, question or exclamation marks at the end. And we need to describe the scene and the characters using adjectives and similes. Short, snappy sentences to build suspense. Show and not tell to describe the feelings of characters, are things that we should be doing. And we could be using a range of conjunctions to extend our sentences and using dialogue to advance the story here and there. So your plan from last week, if you chose to do a story map like me, we need to have a look at that now. So have a look at your Monday's work. Have a look at your plan and remind yourself what we're writing today. So we are writing about the boy seeing the police car pull up today, the boy collecting his bike, the boy riding home on his bike, and the boy seeing the TV screen with the news report at his home, and then hearing the knock on the door. So the clues that we could drop in today are the boy riding his bike extremely fast, like he does in the video, like faster than a normal human, and on the TV screen, what it said on there, which was supernatural event at the school. I'll be doing that later on. The dialogue opportunities we can have are the teacher talking to the police and when somebody knocks on the door. And the show not tell today, seeing the police and the boy being nervous and hearing the knock on the door, being worried and scared, and that, oh God, they're going to get me kind of feeling. Alright then, so here is my plan. So here's just a few notes that I've written to help me write today. I've already started off writing, so this is what your book should look like. So this is where we ended it with my version. Finally, after what seemed like an age, he got to the front entrance. What he saw stopped him dead in his tracks. A feeling of terror rose in his chest. They knew. So I left that on a cliffhanger. And then I've got my today's date there. And then I've carried on with this. So I've started with an ED opener. Now I know it's not ED, but it is emotions, it is feelings, which is what that kind of opener is. So hesitant and unsure, the boy walked out of the front door, facing his fear head on. We still don't know what his fear is. Slowly, a police car pulled into the school's parking lot. I've called it parking lot because it's clearly America. A bead of sweat dripped down the boy's back. His hair stood on end as he walked calmly past the policeman. So here I'm using a little bit of show not tell to describe how the boy is feeling as he walks past the police. Obviously he knows what's happened and he thinks the police are there for them. And then I go on with the man hadn't noticed him. Quicker now, he walked on towards his bike. I just need to include a comma after now. Quicker now, he walked on towards his bike. Fumbling frantically, he undid his bike lock and pushed off towards home. A loud screeching voice made him turn back. So I've kind of left it on a mini cliffhanger there for us, but I'm going to continue over there. And this is an ideal part to include dialogue because when he turns to look over his shoulder, in my mind, what he's seeing is the teacher talking to the police officer, and it's a chance, this one here. And the teacher being alarmed is the screeching voice. Now I have put on there the boy couldn't hear her, but I'm going to change that slightly. So, actually no. There we go. Officer, that's him. That's him. That's the boy. You must stop him. So to try and show urgency there, I've put a lot of exclamation marks in there. Maybe I should put one. Full complement, 4 exclamation marks, all quite short, sharp sentences. And now I can't just put said. Yell, I'm going to put yelled. The teacher in despair. Do you know what? I'm having a bit of a nightmare here. Despair. I'm sure it's the second one. Let me just double check. Yep, there we go. It is that second one. Gosh, look at that. Right, so you must stop him, yelled the teacher in despair. The police officer immediately turned round, but all he could see was the small silhouette of a boy cycling into the distance. And now I'm going to start a new paragraph. I know, obviously, you're all thinking, how did he spell despair wrong? But then I spelled silhouette correctly. Obviously, one of my many talents there, year 6. Right, so at this point then, we're going to look at the boy cycling home faster than he had done before, and about the landscape being a blur. So about this clue here, dropping it in, about how he rides really, really quickly. Racing down, or actually rather than down, let's go racing through the neighbourhood. The boy looked around, the landscape a blur. He'd never gone this fast. Oh, actually, he'd never dare go this fast in daylight before, but they knew now. So this is a little clue that I'm going here, but they knew now. I'm being deliberately ambiguous, but they knew now, so he had to hurry. He wouldn't have long before they found him again. So I'm using they to try and be mysterious a little bit. So we're trying to make the reader think who's found him, why is he running? So now that we've got that bit, and it is only a little bit that we need to do. There's not very much else we can write about that part. So we're going to pull it up to the house and going inside. Now, at this point, we need to make mention of where the boy leaves the keys, because obviously we know he gets them later on, and his house won't have been opened. So, at this point here, we're going to put, as he pulled onto his front lawn, front lawn. Change that onto the front lawn of his house. He abandoned his bike. He wouldn't need it. He wouldn't need it. He could move faster without it. I've put a little parenthesis in there, a little dash, and a little comma as well. Also a little clue. He could move faster without it. Oh wow! How can he move faster without it? Let's say he patted his pockets for his house keys, realising they were in his bag. Realising it was in his bag. Opened the door of his house and stepped into more bad news on the television. So I'm leading into the clue here. Need to maybe just make this a little bit smaller so we can fit it on. There we go. So I'm stepped into more bad news on the television. So on the next page, all across the screen was a live news report. Supernatural event at local school. There we go. So from this point then, and that's almost like a little mini cliffhanger, so I'm not going to write all of it for you today. I'm going to leave it quite nicely there because that brings us up to this bit. So we can, and what I put in my plan here is that he was stunned by this news report. So what I'd be looking for is a little bit of show not tell about how he feels and about what he decides to do straight away after this. So we know that obviously however he feels now, he feels like he must abandon all hope and all ties to this area and pack his bags, pack anything, pack his clothes, food, anything that's nearby into his bag and leave immediately because they're going to find him. So that's the way that I would go next. Now, you need to do that through show not tell. The final bit of show not tell that you'll need to do, and you could leave this little bit on a cliffhanger as well, is the knock on the door. Okay? So in this one, was it too late to escape? So we're not going to write about the bit where he's getting the keys yet. Actually, I probably should mention that. You probably need to mention here as well where he puts the keys, because he does put the keys on the side, doesn't he? So you might need to mention that part. Now, how I would end this particular chapter, this piece of writing today, is with this dialogue, this knock on the door. So right at the very end, if it was the knock on the door, you could start it with something similar, suddenly. Or you could go abruptly. There was a knock on the door, and then your final dialogue line could be something like, police. Police. Open the door. And then the final thoughts could be how you leave it, or you could have the boy's final thoughts. Or you could just end it with a question. Was it too late? Okay. Right. So after you've that's what you need to carry on doing for today then. So you need to carry on writing the rest of this, or write your own version of it as well. Please don't copy what I've written, because it kind of defeats the point. You can all take like some of the openers and some of the ideas by all means, but don't do a direct copy for what I've written. Just a reminder as well, using these shows not tell, the short snappy sentences, the speech, and these conjunctions as well to make your sentences a bit longer. Okay, right, brilliant, Year 6, and I will see you tomorrow.